All right, welcome back. Let's talk about. We're going to talk about the Love and Marriage Huntsville, the show. I'm going to bring you up to speed without you necessarily needing to watch the show. There's just some lessons I wanted to share with us, at least before we end today. I recently watched Love and Marriage. Let me correct that. It's called Love and Marriage Huntsville. It's a show on the Homes own network. Um, yeah, Love and Marriage Huntsville. That's what they call it. If you Google it, if you search on YouTube, you can watch. There are episodes out there flunking around YouTube for free. So this is basically there in season 6. It's about marriages and stuff like that. And there's some lessons that I'm always seeing. I'm like, you know what? I need to come here and share it with you all. And so, but this is coming out of episode 4 and 5. I'm not going to scroll through like I normally do. I have some specific lessons that I wanted to share with you, and they're going to be straightforward to the point. All right. So, as a matter of fact, let me share the screen really quickly so we can get to it. There you go. All right. So, this first one, let's see here. Let's see. The first one here was about. So we talked about Martell, Melody. They're divorced. They're divorced, but they're still on the same show. They have 4 kids together. 4 kids together. Okay, but from all indication, it seems like he still wants her. They're divorced, finalized. She doesn't want any part of that anymore. She moved on, basically. Okay. So they're about 3 different. Let me see here. So one of the guys decided to advise. They decided to do like an advice thing in exchange for helping him work out. And one of the points he made, let me just go ahead and share the screen right now.
Listen, your deodorant just has to work.
Let's see here. All right, there you go. Okay, so let's talk about this one first. Okay, no, not this one actually. Okay, let's talk about this one first. So this is Marcel. His name is Marcel. He is in business with his wife. Okay, and one of the things I learned is that the wife actually invested in his business. One of the people that came here and left a comment actually corrected me on that. That the wife actually invested real money. She sold some units of apartment, and she invested in the business. So she's a major stakeholder in the business. So they're in business together. And the lesson here comes to, if you find yourself working with your husband, right? Or you find yourself working with your wife. And something that shows up heavily here, this man, let me stop this before they slap the video again. Right? This is the new person that they hired as a manager, right? To help them in operations and stuff like that. And he was basically advising, and he was like, no, I have to protect my wife, right? And I go through that myself. There's certain information, right, that I, I generally like. Even if I'm going to share with her, I want to make sure that the atmosphere is right. I'm actively always trying to protect her, right? And it can be tricky because sometimes you carry, as a man, you end up carrying weight that you don't need to carry. What is going on with this thing? Why is it rolling? Let's see. Let me see if I can fix that. Okay, there you go. Let's go back here. There you go. So this one is saying, is basically talking to him and say, hey, he said, I try to be as transparent as I can, right? But he tried to be completely honest. But the gist of the story here is that he finds himself having to protect his wife. And I thought there was some lesson there for the gentleman, right? It's a balancing act, okay? Something you have to pay attention to. Sometimes you just carry way too much weight, okay? And I'm guessing that if you marry this woman and this is the love of your life, the mother of your kids, I'm guessing that there's some qualities that you see in her, and you have to trust. You have to trust that she can handle certain things. Sometimes when you have to carry so much weight of secrecy around, even in the name of trying to protect her, depending on what we're talking about, of course, right? You just need to find a balance. You want to share what you can share, and don't try to carry all of the weight. particularly all of the emotional weight. Okay, I know I tend to come off as, you know what, you're the man, you're supposed to be the. But the part of that, if you're listening to what I've been telling you, is that you have to know when to let go of certain things. Like don't try to be a macho. You're not a superhuman. You will never be a superhuman. And that was basically the lesson from this scene. And I thought it was interesting to watch him come to say, you know what? I've been doing this, I've been doing that, and I find that I'm carrying too much weight. There's a way he said it in that scene. And if you want to go ahead and watch it later on, I think it's important to grab that lesson. Like, don't try to be a macho. Yes, you're supposed to protect, and you probably will naturally, if you love your wife, you naturally will do that to a large extent. But you need to be able to identify when, you know what, I need to bring her up to speed. I need to share this part. Sometimes you want to share with her how she offends you, or you find something offensive, right? And you're like, you don't want to upset her, right? Because you're actively always trying to protect her. Well, there are ways that you can say what you have to say in a way that it will still upset, because she probably doesn't want to feel like she had been upsetting you for a while and she was in the dark. But you have to let go of this idea that you're going to always be able to protect. You're also a human being. You don't want to wait until you blow the cover heart open and then everything is explosive. You don't want to wait until then. You want to be able to say, hey babe, let me share something with you. I want to share something with you from the heart. I feel like this, do. Maybe you are afraid that she will fire back and just be like, I knew it. You're like, maybe the fear is actually worse. Okay, maybe you should speak your mind, right? But of course, how you deliver the message is probably more important than the content of the message, So anyway, that was one of the lessons that I got from this one here. The other one that I wanted to share with you, the other lesson so far, let me see here. Okay. The other one I just shared with you is basically Marcel shields Tisha, which is the wife. He shields Tisha from bad stuff in business, and the project manager partner. At first I thought he didn't get it. Like if you're a married man, you get it. Like, you just have to protect. But after hearing the conversation, I was like, you know what? He's right. You need to be able to, let go of certain things, including your fear of you might upset her, right? If it's just that bad, maybe you should just say what you want to say, right? Anyway, the other lesson I want to share here is, I think it's from episode 5. Let me see, what did I miss so far? Adebusala says, for people with histrionic personality disorder, their self-esteem depends on the approval of others and doesn't come from a true feeling of self-worth. Yeah, you're talking about the other auntie. Yes. Okay, so that's what histrionic means. Okay, good one. Causes being rewarded for attention-seeking behavior as a child, the lack of criticism or punishment as a child. Thank you for sharing. That's a good one. All right, so let's see here. Okay. The other lesson that I got from Love and Marriage Huntsville, I think this one particularly is also from episode 4. Not Marcel, but more like Maurice, the light-skinned one, advises Martell to find him, even though he wants Melody back. That's what I was talking about earlier. Oftentimes you hear women say, I need to find myself, right? It's women that usually say that, and men don't realize that they need to find themselves. Men, you need to find yourself. You also lose yourself in a toxic marriage or in toxic relationship dynamics. You can lose yourself. Okay, what that means is that it's almost related to what Adebusala just said. Okay, what that means is that you might think that you're doing something for a greater cause, but it's actually you disconnecting from your self-worth. Okay, and over time, if if you're showing needy behavior like Martell has been showing for years now, if you're showing that, that's a sign that you should find yourself. Okay, because why is it that you keep finding yourself in a position where you have to prove yourself all the time, while you are seeking validation, why in fact you can't, if people don't agree with you, you're not yourself, right? And instead of jumping into another relationship, we're talking about him potentially dating Cherie now, right? This other lady from another reality TV show, right? So they were talking about that, and you were like, no, why? You don't have to declare a relationship so early. Like, take your time to find yourself. And men, because of this syndrome of wanting to be superhuman, you can save the world, you can do and undo, and we keep forgetting that we're also emotional beings. You need to make sure that you're good. Okay, and I think it's very important. This is Martell and Cherie right here. Okay, it's very, very important. And his friend, one of his partners, was like, you know what, no, you need to find yourself. And I agree with that. Finding yourself, let's start with letting go of Melody. You need to let go. Okay, if you especially want her back, your best chances of getting her back, if that's even useful at all, is to let go first. You need to let go, and it's not a one time you use your mouth to say, hey, yes, I have let go. No, it needs to show in your behavior over a period of time. You need to be consistent. If every time this woman is able to trigger you to the point of now filing for custody and just being all over the place, if every time you have to do that, you haven't let go, and it's just going to backfire every time. So that's the other lesson. Okay, this last lesson that we got from it, from episode 5. Okay, this lesson goes to the melodies out there. You need to be very, very careful. If you happen to have kids for an ex-husband, you need to be very, very careful, because this story continues to tell itself over and over and over again. People that end up with a relationship that's bad, or that ended, let's just say it's ended, and they're having a hard time letting go. The same thing I just said, right? So particularly in this case, Melody would like to argue that she already let go, but she's struggling to let go, particularly by trying to punish the ex-husband, who is Martell. Let me show you something. Right? So she threw a party for their child. She threw a party for the child, and he came to the party, but I'm not sure if I got the message correctly, but basically asked him to leave. Okay. She basically asked him to leave the party. So what she said is that, well, you could throw your own party for the baby, for the girl. This is their first daughter, I think. This is Melody. You're looking at Melody right now. Okay. So she had the party and you can see people were at the party. And the title of the video says, "Leave our daughter's birthday party now." So we don't know what happened behind the scenes. This is a reality TV show. Oftentimes they will make you look a certain way. But I also know that this happens a lot in real life. So he was asked to leave. It became that's the baby girl. Don't let me show that too much. He was asked to leave, and she said, "Let me talk to you for a moment." They went outside, and it became a yelling match between the two of them. Co-parenting, as sweet as people try to make it sound, is no beans. It's not easy, right? Because people are caught up in their emotions. So the camera were not allowed next to them, but they were still filming them because they've signed contracts. Okay, so this is real. They were arguing at the top of their lungs. Okay, let me see if I can show you a little bit.
Remove yourself. I just would rather you can get her later today.
She said, "I just would rather you can get her later on today." She doesn't want him at his daughter's birthday party. All right. Remember we covered the story with Gideon Okeke yesterday, and I said, you know what, we don't know what's going on there and stuff like that. Um, the only lesson I want you to get out of this is that this is the reality. If you're fantasizing about the other side of some crisis going on in your family, you need to understand upfront that this is the other side of it. Co-parenting is not fun. Divorce is not fun. Okay. Now, if you have to do it, you have to do it for self-preservation reasons. I can respect that, but it needs to be better than this. The people that really suffer the most is the kids. So she said, I'm going to celebrate my daughter on her birthday. He's saying, I want to celebrate my daughter on her birthday. I said, oh, yeah, you can do that outside of this party. You need to leave. It was sad to watch, to say the least. And he was asked to leave the party. And then he ended up jumping into the car. You can get her later on. You need to step back. And then it was a yelling match.
Okay, y'all stop.
All right, did you see him? He left his masculine frame. Yeah. Yeah, this will make you, because we're talking about someone's child now, right? So again, you're going to be tested all the time like that. If you're a man, if you find yourself in this situation, that's what that is, But try, if there's a way you can try to avoid this, try your best. What does it start with? It starts with self-awareness. You need to understand that you've gone through some hurt. Okay. You need to first of all understand that you've gone through some experiences and you probably can't stand your ex. Okay. Self-awareness. Okay. Then you need to understand that you probably have no power in your voice anymore. They don't want to hear your mouth. Okay. So if all you're doing is yelling, you're making things worse. Okay. Social intelligence, we always talk about that. How you carry yourself continues to be a representation of your best self. Right? You changed yesterday, but today you're overreacting already. You're not consistent. You got to pay attention to that. Gentlemen, if you're not consistent, the worst of your moment is what is going to be used to judge you. Just so you know. Okay? Adam says, but why wouldn't she allow him to his daughter's birthday? I know. It's sad. But this is how she will find a good excuse to justify it. Like she just said, you can pick her up after. She threw the birthday party. They're separate. Well, not separate. They're divorced. They live a completely different life. He recently filed for 100% custody. He filed for that, right? So if you file to take a woman's children away from her, how do you think she's going to respond? Right? Will she fight fair? Will she try? Do you think she'll be fighting fair? Right? Yeah. Even if you have your rights, because one of the things he was claiming is like there are too many people that he doesn't know babysitting his kids, and he's asked to adjust, but then he ended up in a court filing a lawsuit. I think recently they said he's going to drop the lawsuit, but consistency. Remember, if you act out of anger, there are consequences, even when you're right. Yes, I know you hate that, but even when you're right, okay. All right, so yeah, I can see why she's probably holding a lot of resentment, and she just wants to. I can see that. It doesn't make it right. Two wrongs don't make it right. But again, I'm probably not the first that would tell her that she's wrong. I think focusing on right and wrong is the wrong move. I think you should pay attention to where your power is and continue to find opportunities to seduce. One of the ways you can seduce is how you carry yourself, how you handle crisis. In the midst of the worst test ever, like the worst test I can think of it, like the worst test is somebody telling you can't enter into your baby girl's birthday party. I can see it right now, like that's a test. You'll be triggered, right? But this is the test that you need to pass. Right? And if you try to use coconut head, it won't work. Remember, they are both coconut heads. Right? It won't work. You might be asked to leave by a cop. Like, we don't want him here. Because they're divorced and he has his own time when he has the kids. Yeah? So it's rough. There's a lot going on there, emotionally speaking. She hasn't let go too. She's still actively trying to punish him. But rightfully so. I guess because he filed a lawsuit to take the children away from her. I don't think any normal woman will react to that with, let's be fair. I think they will probably try to fight with everything they've got, including this type of moment you just saw right now. So it's sad to watch when a family, and they seem very lovely together, but that's what we saw on the outside. Apparently it was a bad situation. It was a toxic situation.
Yes, it is. Okay, y'all stop.
Did you hear that yelling? That didn't sound good. That didn't sound good. Why was he yelling like that though? They asked him to leave. He was frustrated. He's frustrated. Okay? Yeah. That's the worst nightmare of a mother. Okay? It's the worst fear of a mother. And some people say, well, what about men? It's the worst fear of a father too. You can try to become a woman if that's what you want to do. But I beg to differ. For the most part, I think it's the mother that there's something called mother in our social construct. It makes no sense to be arguing against that, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. But anyway, yes, so I think we should call it a quit. Shout out to you, Adebusola, for still rocking it with me to late night taping. All right. Let me know your thoughts about that. If you're watching this because of love and marriage, Huntsville, what do you know that I don't know? I'm just looking at it from the outside. I don't really pay attention to too much of the details. I can see what I can see right now. I can see that co-parenting is not fun. It's easier said than done. Okay? People will test each other. They will use everything in their power to fight each other because one person is going to be asking for fairness. The other person, you're not fair. The other person said, no, you're not fair either. Right? No, but you started first. Oh, I started. What about when you did? What about? And that circle keeps going and it never stops. Somebody's gonna have to stop it. Who's gonna stop it? Should be me first. Like no, right? It's just tough. It's a tough thing. If you think putting your family together and doing everything in your power to keep your family together is tough, try co-parenting outside. Let's see how that works. Okay, it's like saying if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Right? Yeah. The same work you don't want to do that you're refusing to do when you're caught up in your anger and emotions, you still have to do for the rest of the life of your kids, which is the rest of your life, hopefully, inshallah. Right? You're going to have to deal with that woman, that husband of yours, right? If we're talking about the typical society, you're going to have to deal with that. And you're going to have to learn how to negotiate. You're going to have to learn how to compromise. You're going to have to learn how to engage your power in the midst of all of that. Okay? All right. So I thought I saw a flash or something like that. That's weird. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Shout out to everybody that came by. Brother Patrick, good to see you, sir. Cheer, everybody that came by today. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. Please, on your way out, hit the like button. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.